And big breaking news coming in. This is a major CNN News 18 impact. The anti-graft ombudsman, the Lokpal, has cancelled its controversial tender to procure 7 luxury BMW cars, collectively worth around 5 crore. 2 months after it was floated, the move assumed significance as the opposition parties and civil society activists had slammed Lokpal's decision to procure the high-end vehicles. Officials said the decision to cancel the procurement offer was taken following a resolution of the full bench of the Lokpal. We've accessed an exclusive copy of that order, and to decode that further, I'm joined by my colleague Aman Sharma. Aman, over to you.
Well, yes, Ayushman, this is the big impact of the CNN News 18 story that we did all of October. The Lokpal has cancelled the order the tender it had issued on October 16 to buy 7 BMW cars. I have the tender cancellation document now in my hand, and I would like to read out to the viewers what the Lokpal is now saying. Lokpal is saying that due to administrative reasons and issues, we are cancelling this particular tender. Corrigendum reason, due to administrative reasons and issues, this tender is now being cancelled. They are saying the tender is cancelled via a full bench resolution of the Lokpal dated 27th November 2025. So actually, the full bench of the Lokpal sat on 27th November 2025, decided to cancel the tender the Lokpal had itself issued on October 16th, 2025. They have cancelled that particular tender now. This is a big impact, Ayushman, because when we exposed this story the first, on October 20th, we had questioned this Lokpal's move to procure 7 expensive BMW cars. This particular tender has now been cancelled. We have accessed the order as well, dated December 17th. The order saying that the tender has been cancelled due to administrative reasons and issues, a decision taken via a full bench. So the full bench means all 7 members of the Lokpal sat together and cancelled the tender, and the expensive BMW car was for each of these members. The 7 BMW cars were to be procured by the Lokpal for its 7 members. A tender was issued on October 16th about it. We were the first to report on October 20th that the Lokpal wanted to buy these 7 BMW cars worth rupees 70 lakh each. The official tender which had been floated said the total purchase would have been worth nearly rupees 5 crore. It invited much criticism from all quarters. The Lokpal, Ayushman, would have spent over 10% of its annual budget on the purchase of these 7 cars at rupees 5 crore if it had gone ahead with this purchase. So the total budget of Lokpal, Ayushman, for 2025-2026 is rupees 44 crore, and they were buying cars worth nearly rupees 5 crore. And only rupees 12 lakh was budgeted for motor vehicles in the last financial year. Lokpal did not spend any money on it at that particular time. Before that, Lokpal had never accounted any expenditure on motor vehicles. And we had that time Ayushman, former IPS officer and once a proponent of Jan Lokpal, Kiran Bedi, joining us and slamming the move, saying that why can't they go for a truly, she called it a truly avoidable decision. She said why Lokpal has not been created for extravagance. Why don't they go for local cars? Why they want to go for a foreign-made car? Respecting public sentiments, Lokpal must say we are now going to buy Swadeshi cars. When the Prime Minister has been emphasizing on Swadeshi so much, so we have good Indian-made cars, why don't they go for that? We don't know, Ayushman, now if they will go for the Swadeshi cars, but the Lokpal of India cancelling this tender is an impact of our journalism, that we persisted with the story, and we question how a 7-member body ombudsman, which is tackling corruption, which has been said to provide probity in public life, was itself going for this big extravagance. And now the 330 Li cars, the BMW, they had even, Ayushman, in their tender specified which car to buy. They wanted the BMW 3 Series 330 Li cars, all in white color. It was a sport, long wheelbase car, all in white color. They wanted these cars delivered at their office, within 2 weeks of the order being issued. Now that order is never going to be issued because they've cancelled the order, and the BMW had said, this is the latest car of the BMW, in fact, launched last year, which they say has it's the longest car in its segment, with the most spacious second seat row, the most luxurious rear seat experience, with the longest wheelbase, the BMW says. But those cars are definitely not coming now because the Lokpal has cancelled its own order.
Right, and Aman, it's all about the optics. We all remember the campaign which led to the creation of the Lokpal, as you were pointing out, the probity in public life. And these numbers are extremely important. 44 crore is the budget of the Lokpal. 10% of the annual budget, which is 5 crore, would have been the cost of these 7 BMW cars, totaling 70 lakh each for each member. Now, given the fact that whenever you think of the Lokpal, you think about that campaign against corruption, the body should be above reproach. The optics did not sit well with the people of this country when CNN News 18 exposed this gross mismanagement of public funds. And clearly it seems that the Lokpal felt the pinch of public opinion and this decision was taken.
Yeah, clearly, Ayushman. See, at that time, we tried to contact the Lokpal, we tried to contact the secretary of the Lokpal, we even sent a reporter to the Lokpal office trying to speak to the Lokpal members, but nobody responded at that time. The government also was completely silent, saying this is a matter of the, it's a Lokpal is an independent body, it's an anti-corruption ombudsman, the government can't do anything much about it. But the fact remains that the Lokpal of India is the first institution of its kind, established under the Lokpal and Lokayuktas Act 2013 to inquire and investigate into allegations of corruption against public functionaries who fall within the scope. The Lokpal consists of a chairperson, 8 members. Right now, 4 of them are said to be judicial members out of them. The salary allowances are the same as the Chief Justice of India and, other Supreme Court judges. But I think the question marks were raised over the propriety of such a tender. You have Indian-based cars, you can buy a cheaper car. Why do you want to buy a car which is 70 lakh or more, and that too for each of your members? That was which were raising a lot of question marks. In fact, Ayushman, I remember that particular time the tender even said that the firm which was selected to give these cars should conduct a comprehensive practical and theoretical training program for the drivers and other designated staff members of the Lokpal. So even the drivers of the Lokpal were not aware of how to drive this fully automatic, very sophisticated car. They had to be undergone a training if the tender had gone through. The training was to be conducted, in fact, for a minimum duration of 7 days and was to be completed within 15 days of the delivery of the order. So all of that is not happening now. It has taken maybe 3 months for them to realize it, but the Lokpal has cancelled its own tender issued on October 16th, vide its resolution of a full bench of the Lokpal dated 27/11/2005, as we can see in this document that exclusive access we have of this cancellation order of the Lokpal, and they are citing administrative reasons and issues for cancelling this particular tender. Well, the real reason, I think, is known to all why they've cancelled this tender.
Absolutely. And given the fact that the entire cost of this entire exercise wouldn't have ended at 5 crore, because these are very expensive cars to maintain as well. And that would have also come out of the public kitty. And as you're pointing out, the training programs for the drivers, they also wanted the firms to conduct that. That's more expense coming in from the public kitty. So even this 10% usage of the annual budget is not the be-all, end-all of the cost that the taxpayer would have had to incur given this order coming in. And the strangest part is from none other than the Lokpal.
Absolutely, Ayushman. The service of these vehicles, the maintenance of these vehicles, these are expensive cars. They require huge cost also on service and maintenance. They would have been incurred, over the years. It was not a one-time cost. But all said, we're an organization which just has a budget of about 44 crore rupees in a year, spending nearly 5 crores of it, over 10% of it, to buy 7 expensive luxury cars, seemed very, very, out of order at that particular time. That is why it was criticized by many people.
Absolutely. Thank you, Aman, for joining us on the broadcast. Clearly, better sense has prevailed over the people and the 7 members of the Lokpal when it comes to this stunning story.